and Suzuki was just so quick onto the ball into the front.
Yeah, he's got a gymnastic background as a kid, and you can see that. And
yeah, it's ridiculously dynamic. I remember going to the British Junior Open 2011, sorry, and I walked into the centre at Sheffield, Nick Matthews courts, and at Hallamshire, and I saw this guy at 16 years of age motoring around the court. I said, that's not normal. You can't move that quick at 16. But he already had the natural abilities, the gifts to move around the court. But I got it all in that first match as well, because there was a lot of decisions and a lot of problems already. So already on show back then was both sides of the coin, and we've just we've sort of swayed his whole career with that. So I'm not going to go as far as to say that I think that we're going to see him rise right up the rankings and enter into the top 5, but hopefully for his sake, at least at this event, he can sort of launch himself into this season. He's already had quarters at Egyptian Open, so I think a semi-final spot here. Nobody considered him for the top 8 predictions, including myself, so we might have missed one there.
The maturity is coming. It's coming a little bit late, but it's coming perhaps.
Well, it's a long season ahead as well, so there's a lot of tournaments. But great talking point, and fantastic to see the matchup. He played Ibrahim back in that 2020 when Ibrahim got through Mohammed El Shabagi. Played him in the quarterfinals, so it's a repeat of that one, and that went all the way as well. So fingers crossed we'll have a belter.
Well, another player that we saw yesterday was Hania El Hammamy, the number 2 seed, obviously the winner of the Egyptian Open just a week ago. Was under pressure against Jazz Hutton. Hutton took the first game, and Hammamy, you had to dig quite deep to get through that one.
I'm not convinced by what I saw. I saw a couple of iffy movements in this match, Vanessa, from Hania El Hammamy. That was the big one there, where it was a bit of a talking point. Was there something wrong with the knee, or is there some kind of injury there that she's trying to sort of cloak and not let on about? She managed to sort of control things enough, but look at that scoreline, 10-9, that hand going on the wall there. I tell you what, there's a shot here of Amina Orfi on the side, licking her lips, just getting ready for another crack at Hania El Hammamy, because what she sees there, any sign of weakness, and Orfi will be able to pounce on it.
Is that she looks jaded, she looks a bit fatigued, which is understandable with the quick turnaround. She's just come off the back of a huge win and has to back it up so quickly. Yeah,
and also you've got to, it kind of goes back and forth. She had that time out the back end of last season due to the knee injury. That would that freshen the mind up, being away from the tour? Yes, it would. But then are you into battle mode, winning a massive tournament like she did in the way she did? It's all these different variables, but the turnarounds are incredibly quick. 1 week is for some.
I don't buy into the jaded theory, to be honest. I feel that she's had a lot of time off. She hasn't played since the World Champs. She should be fresh as a daisy. So and those movements there were not, she was not moving as freely as what we saw at the Egyptian Open. So I think that she might have something, and she's trying to sort of get through without showing it.
Interesting.
But, yeah, I think that's going to be a problem against Orfi.
Well, she's got a rest day today, a very welcome rest day, I'm sure. Is there also a little bit of extra pressure, obviously, with Doha pulling out, for her to then, take advantage and possibly take another title?
I think that the top 3, and now, we talk about the big 4 now with Orfi moving up there as well. I don't think these girls feel pressure too much. They've produced so often for so long from such a young age. I don't think it's about that. But when the machine, such a finely tuned machine, has something a little bit wrong with it, that can throw them off massively. We've seen it with Shabini, we've seen it with Gohar as well. So I feel like that is the main thing that could throw her off.
It's some of the best movement I saw in Cairo with El Hammamy. So all eyes will be on her when she comes up in a next round to see how that mix. It's such a base of a game. Yes, she's added all these different shots which are coming in, the forehand boasts and all these wonderful shots. But the movement on this court is you've got to be firing on all cylinders because it's so severe and cold.
And if there is a vulnerability there, she's certainly in the tougher half of the draw, because she would potentially meet Orfi in that semi-final.
Massive. Orfi's on the rampage, as we know. She's coming off a major final herself, diamond final, winning the London Classic. She's riding a ginormous tsunami here of sand in Doha.
Yeah, because Weaver pulled out late. That big gap in the draw is in the bottom half at the top there, which we'll get onto. But you could say, she's slightly unlucky there in terms of having to face off with Orfi again, who's you know, and we've got question marks about Shabini as well. How well prepared is Shabini?
I want to jump in there a little bit. Well, because she wasn't prepared for last season. She came in, she won those events. Now, I don't think she's done a massive amount this summer and particularly motivated, but I reckon there's something in there. There's still a bit of that kind of, I don't think you've ever seen Transformers, the spark, you wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about. The young kids would, which is the most important.
No, I do know Transformers.
You do, well, that's good. But
you're not talking about the Transformers that are building the AI systems that are going to take over, are you?
Easy, Johnny. She's got a spark there. It's not out yet, and I feel that with Doha going out, Shabini's she's licking her lips.
You don't buy into the rumours that Shabini might be coming close to the end, and she might not even see it to the Olympics?
I'm just talking about this tournament.
Okay. I'm just asking.
I'm just talking about this tournament. I mean, the Olympics is 3. I mean, I might not be around. Mate, you might not be around the Olympics.
We will bleed you. I might not be around.
You still have a great head of hair, because we know. But I mean, for me, just don't write her off for this event, Shabini.
No, never write her off. But also, if she hasn't done a lot this summer, that can also be a very wise decision. Players can't just keep pushing continually for 15, 20 years.
She's got years and years and years and hours, millions of hours of squash in her DNA. For me, it's about the body feeling good. She can prove that she can play long matches. She's got so many reserves to draw on. It's about the mental side and how sharp she is there. And if that knee's in good order, her legs are moving. Don't write her off. I think we might see something here.
And someone that's certainly not looking jaded or fatigued, but also a very different age and a very different phase of her career is obviously Amina Orfi. Just looks unstoppable.
I watched, for the first time I sat down, outside the back of the court here watching her live, and the thing that impressed me the most was just, how quick she is in general, in the intensity that she brings, the hard hitting combined with the speed. There is a vulnerability which we spoke about on day one, movement perhaps going forward, explosive movement in and out that Hania El Hammamy was able to expose in the final of the Egyptian Open, but other than that, and she's going to work on that, she's only 18, so I couldn't believe the ferocity with which she plays. I think she should be called Lionheart, not the Orphanator.
Right, okay.
Because lions take leopards as well, Joey.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
I mean, we should go on a safari, but just going back to her consistency of a mindset, that kind of unrelenting quality that she brings at such a young age. She doesn't really dip in and out of form. And I feel the addition of Omar Mossad, somebody wrote about, what I said, the comment about efficiency of movement, and somebody wrote about, well, he wasn't known for his efficiency of movement. It's like the bloke was 90 kilograms and could play for nearly 2 hours, so he had to be efficient, otherwise he'd have died of death in the 30 minutes. But, being able to utilise what she's got, those feet that go like the clappers, but then get the efficiency and a bit of smoothness and just kind of work that into the engine she's already got, and the addition of her technical stuff. I mean, she's,
Well, those two can have a good chat about being gutsy and hanging in. You remember?
There's a lot of attributes there, and he's calm.
Yeah.
He's a big presence and he's calm. He's not here for this event, but all credit to the Hammer of Thor. I'm excited for that addition. I think it's going to be hopefully a long-standing, very successful partnership between them.
Well, before we have a look ahead at what's coming today, we've got just enough time to have another look at our pundit predictions for the World Tour finals. We need a little jingle to go with that, don't we?
Oh, no. Here we go.
Pundit predictions of the day.
85 people in this
one.
Who
is it going to be?
Oh,
it's Asher's.
Aisling. Here we go. That looks pretty smart. Okay.
It's pretty safe. She hasn't gone too risque there.
No, I mean,
I went for Fayrouz Abouelkia, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from her.
Yeah, well, give yourself a pat on the back on that. But I mean, this is why it's so fascinating. I mean, Naylor Gillis starting the season so well. Obviously getting into that final of the London Classic. Her form looks good, and she's been in the top 8 previously. Obviously, she's been as high as 4. I mean, it's a safe, solid shout there from Aisling. Which
She'll be running her hand through her hair, though, after that performance yesterday from Nelly Gillis against Siva.
Well, let's have a look at her men's picks. Oh, she's got Kruan in there, Zachariah.
That's solid. That's a solid one as well. I mean,
Ibrahim.
All credit to Aisling. She's really thought about this for once.
Gawad's not in there, the Shabagi's not in there, so she's taken out the slightly older players.
Well, given the form of the Shabagi brothers and also what happened with Marwan at the end of his match, I think that Aisling will be liking what she's done there, to be honest.
Yeah, the luck of the Irish. she hasn't got a clue what she's talking about, but she's nailed that. No, I'm joking. Of course she does.
Well, we'll have some more pundit predictions, I'm sure, during the week. Let's have a look ahead at our order of play for today. So coming up first, Fayrouz Abulkir, the young Egyptian player, taking on Tinakhilis, the only seeded player left in that section of the draw. Ikapaharas, he took out Mohammed El Shabagi. He's up against another Mohammed Abulgar. Farida Mohammed, she hasn't played yet. This is her first match. She's up against Mariam Metwali. That's a big match for a quarter-final spot. Dimitri Steinman of Switzerland, he's up against the number 2 seed, Paul Cole. First match of the second session, Noor Haikal, the young Egyptian player, up against the number 1 seed, Noor El Shabini. Mohamed Zachariah taking on Jonah Bryant, the big match of the day. Melissa Alves of France took out Gina Kennedy. She's up against Ira Azan. And then in the last match of the day, fittingly, the local hero, Abdullah Mohammed Al-Tamimi, taking on Sebastian Bonmalay. Well, look at that, Paul Johnson.
As if by magic.
As if by magic. PJ, how are you enjoying your week in Doha so far? You like a bit of luxury. They do roll out the red carpet for us here.
It has been said, yes, and very, very, quite fitting, really. Yeah, I mean, I obviously came here as a player back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I've said it on numerous occasions that the service and the treatment that the players get, and also us TV crew, is literally the best in the business. And now with the amalgamation with the Tennis Federation as well, it's just been turned up another notch, and very, very fortunate to come. I love coming back. A little bit of winter sun, autumn sun maybe, but get a few rays in and try and top up the tan. Yeah. But it's always good to come here, and it always produces so many epic battles.
Well,
so.
There's been some big World Championships held here. A lot of Qatar Classics. I think 27th for the men. Some big tennis tournaments take place here as well.
They certainly do. I mean, they're no stranger to elite sport, and I think as a result of that, the knock-on effect is the fact that the players here do get that exceptional treatment, and in the latter rounds, especially if there's some Egyptian interest, which generally there are these days, this turns into a very kind of raucous and packed gallery, so it's great for the players.
It does. Well, speaking of Egyptians, we're going to have a look back at some more results from yesterday. And the number 1 seed, the Raging Bull, took on the French acrobat Gregoire Marche. It was a pretty comfortable win for Asal, Joey, but more importantly, not too many decisions. Pretty free-flowing overall.
Yeah, I mean, it was a competitive second game. Gregoire, 35 years of age now, and still moving very, very well. Quick round the court. It was a bit of a foregone conclusion. I don't want to take anything away from Gregoire. And it was, he wasn't tested. He was kind of playing in cruise control, really, at times, I feel, Mustafa.
And although there weren't many decisions, PJ, the referees still seem to be watching him like a hawk. Possibly that's justified from sort of previous infractions. Yeah. But there were possibly a couple of decisions that maybe warrant a second look. Yeah. So let's have a little look back at this one.
Well, the unfortunate situation that Mustafa Asal's got, Vanessa, is he's a marked man now. Given his track record, this particular situation for me, there's absolutely nothing in it. It's a minimal interference. The natural reaction as Marsh tries to move into that back left-hand corner. Yes, Asal is a little bit close, but there's no malice. There's no intent there for me from the Egyptian. I feel that the referees are coming down on him at times, and it's a fine line. At times, a little bit unnecessarily. Whether they're trying to maintain that precedent, I'm not sure. I feel that all these situations, Joey, they need to be kind of taken kind of independently. You can't keep pinging him for the things that he's not doing.
Well, just going back to the whole with the Diego announcement there, just with I think what he was kind of getting at was the amount of clashes they had physically. On that court in Cairo, and to clear up about his knee, there was a slip. There wasn't contact, but he slipped trying to make a big way round. Mustafa landed badly on that knee, and that was what caused the kind of tear in the meniscus. Now, he then went on, obviously, to try and play an exhibition, which was a bad move on all fronts. But his point was more the amount of activity that they get, the clashes that they get. And then if you watch Diego playing other people, that doesn't happen. So, you've got two schools of people that are absolutely going bonkers about Mustafa, you know, saying it's dreadful, that things have to really be done, you know, like another ban. And then you've got the other school that are saying that they're going after him, you know, that the referees are preempting all these different things. So you've got the two extremes. And I think from a playing point of view, the players, it's particularly Diego, you know, they've had some great matches and he's got a really good track record against Mustafa, but that one in Egypt, there was obviously a lot of interference going on and, you know, a lot of physicality, and I think his kind of statement was that kind of frustration of everything that's happened.
There's no doubt in my mind that there are situations where there is some excessive movements, and listen, he's doing his best to try and tidy up some of these little subtleties, but again they're still creeping in, as you can see there, the trailing leg,
I mean, he's
back
not
into the tee.
From these kind of clips, he's not trying to, you know, there is players that are going down the footballer route and obviously then, you know, looking for contact that isn't always there, but from that he's trying to take a big move round him to clear the swing, to clear everything, and then he's obviously, unfortunately for him, slipped and hurt his knee.
But is there a problem there with Mustafa's movement? Is he doing that on purpose? Is it cheating? Or is there something that just needs resolving in terms of him coming out of the back corners wider?
The problem that we've got now, this is actually starting to go on a little bit too long, and as we know, James Willstrop, who's one of the fairest players on tour, great reputation, he's doing his utmost to try and change some of these little movements that we're seeing that are feeling that he is doing it on purpose. My honest belief is I just don't think he's aware, because it's kind of, when he goes back into that default mode, it's that win at all cost mentality where he's doing it, but I don't necessarily think he's doing it on purpose. It's ingrained in him.
I think we tend to see a lot of the sort of bigger clashes, but there's a lot of, I think the one with Marsh was probably quite a good example. There's a lot of softer contacts, but it's constant and it's too many.
Yeah.
And you see Marsh is irritated, isn't he? Because it's happening a lot.
Well, the players are now looking for it as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I mean, you go back in the day and you've got players that are taking their space, you know, massively and trying to get round them, and the kind of change with directives, with the video review coming in, you know, all eyes on the focus on the decisions now is so massive, whether it's Mustafa playing or not. You know, back in, you know, you'd had to try to go round a player and you'd been, blocked out, and you couldn't do anything about it because there was no Squash TV. You know, that was the decision, and you had to get on it. But in the past, there's been players, of course, that take space, you know, massive space.
So in that situation, is that maybe the rules now have created a little bit of an issue with it, because the clear line and the access through for the incoming player, that's not being back, as you mentioned back in the day, Joey. If you were standing on the tee, I mean, I had quite a big swing and I had quite a long stride pattern. I would leave that trailing leg back near the tee, almost play my shot, and then the opponent had to go round to get that ball back.
So just going back to,
I would have got pinged for that.
Yeah, going back to like the French movement. So having done a bit of training with Gregory Gaultier that nearly killed me because it was so brutal. He would leave his back leg on the tee, but that wasn't it. He wasn't doing that to be like, right, I'm going to take the space from my player. It was this kind of basically controlling the middle, but doing the efficient movement. He was one of the only players that could actually lunge, not put the hand down, and come back, recall back. Yeah. Not many players can do that. When they lunge in, they drag the back foot in to then recall back, whereas he could do that. So his design of ghosting wasn't to be like, right, you've got to completely block out. There's times when he shut players out, big time around the middle of the court, and other players also. But, you know, it's this getting back to the tee, controlling the tee, and also letting a player go through and get it. But then you've got the other side of the coin when it can backfire, where Mustafa hits an outrageous winner, and it is a winner.
Yeah.
The opponent, no matter what, can't get it, even though they can't get through, they can't get it, and then it's either a let ball or a stroke against him.
Should the referees be able to look back at some of those situations retrospectively and possibly, punish a player after the fact if they see something that they didn't see in the live match?
I think it's hard to go back after the event, really. I think it needs to be done. I think it needs to be done at the time, personally. It needs to be punished, unless it's something blatant, massively blatantly obvious and extremely dangerous.
It does happen in other sports.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the issues, obviously. I mean, with here when Mustafa, was it Paris when he cleaned out Paul Cole? came in from behind, and he took Cole out in the front left-hand corner.
There was an incident with Tarek Moment here, actually, a couple of years ago that was looked at afterwards, which I think was one of the reasons that led to his first ban, actually.
Yeah.
But is that microscopic kind of look at every movement that Mustafa Asal makes, is it fair? Is it kind of allowing some other players maybe a little bit of a free pass? I suppose the question is, that situation with Marsh, would that have been a no-let with any other player?
Yes.
Yeah.
Short answer, yes. As I said before, he's a marked man now, so he's got that hanging over him. He's going to have to go to a real extreme now to let's say, so-called clean up his act. I think he's trying. It's not as bad as it once was. The real test for him, in my opinion, will become when the matches get very tight and very close. And that tension, latter rounds, semi-finals, finals, when that default mode comes in, how is he going to react?
Well, let's move on from this now. On the women's side, I wanted to talk about the Ira Azan performance.
Yes.
Obviously, she took out Satomi Watanabe in the first round. Not always easy to back up a big upset like that. She was up against Zaina Makawi on the glass court yesterday, and certainly backed up very, very well. She was obviously the favourite on paper to win this.
Yeah, I mean, it's she's always been very talented, her and her sister. I mean, the expression around the court, but just feel she's now, I think she's doing some work with your brother-in-law now, David Campion.
She has been over there, yeah. She was in Ponty actually,
and
as well.
He would steady the ship a little bit more and kind of bring in a little bit more consistency in a game, which you can see happening here. And backing up against Makawi, she did it well to win 3-love after a huge win over Watanabe, PJ.
I managed to commentate on this one, and what was impressive for me, Vanessa, is the match where she beat Watanabe was on the traditional courts. She adjusted brilliantly coming onto the glass court because it was so severe, and we saw so much activity in the front two corners from both players. It was almost kind of a race. Whoever got that chance to go in short first would actually end up winning the points. But I'm not sure how much time she's had with David Campion. I think the main, one of the real strengths of her game at the moment is that speed. We see with a lot of the Malaysian players is that speed into the front two corners. And I think as she gets more confident and more exposure to these kind of situations, potentially she could be another great addition to that Malaysian team. We're doing well at the moment.
They're doing very well. There's a wider context to that win that obviously puts two Malaysian women into the quarterfinals, Ira Azan and Siva Sanggara Subramaniam. If Ira's sister Aifa, who's coming up later today, if she wins, that would put three Malaysian women in a major quarterfinal. That's never happened before.
Well, that's fantastic. And you just, again, we're talking about another country that's outside of Egypt with so many great players from Egypt. And Malaysia have always had a great track record with obviously the great Nicole David, and now we've got Siva leading the charge with the two sisters.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and a testament to the association over there. I mean, a lot of what people don't see is all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. There's obviously a lot of funding, and they're exposing their players, taking them around the world tour to get experience as much as they can. They're getting themselves involved with the likes of David Campion, who did obviously 23 years.
Shout out to Andrew Cross as well.
Andrew Cross, Peter Geneva.
Ijaz Azmat, who we're chatting to, has been there 9 years.
Yeah, lovely man. So yes, there's a lot goes on. It's a collective effort amongst everybody over there, and as Joey alluded to, it's great to see some new flags up on the orders of play.
Still producing very good juniors now as well, Malaysia.
Yeah, it's a must for them. It's a must for the sport.
Well, we've had a good look back. A couple of big matches coming up. A very quick talk about the Zachariah Bryant clash. It feels like it's a rivalry already, even though they've only played twice. It's almost a foreshadowing of possibly many finals to come in the future.
Yeah, they played in the Irish Open back in April 2024, and it was a 3-2 victory 3-1 victory for Jonah Bryant there, which a lot of people probably don't necessarily talk about. Zachariah obviously coming off the best win of his. It's a belter. I urge the viewers to be tuning in for that match because, sadly, you're not on commentary.
Unfortunately, I'll be certainly sitting in the stands watching this one. But you've called it there. This could be a potential rivalry that could last for years. I can't wait. Two very different styles of play.
Very different temperaments as well.
Very different temperaments. Well, we're getting a chance to see that in full display today. Jonah Bryant, very technically solid. and obviously with the movement of Zachariah and his court craft, with the addition of power, could be an absolute belter.
And
I think the first
physicality.
game's crucial.
Jonah Bryant's physicality is terrific,
Yeah.
and he'll need that obviously on this court. So they've got all the attributes for a great match today.
Fantastic. Well, that's it for our pre-show. If you're watching over on YouTube, make sure you switch over to Squash TV. Our match coverage starting very shortly, not to be missed. See you very soon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2025 Qatar Classic. Another action-packed day ahead of us. Part 2 of round 2 coming up for you, and 8 more quarter-final spots up for grabs. I'm Vanessa Atkinson, and joining me is Joey Barrington. Afternoon, Joey.
Afternoon, Vanessa. Looking forward to today.
We've got a big day ahead.